As a kid, one of my favorite games at the time was a game called Kinetica, and no one really remembers it that much. So I want to talk about it. Now you're probably asking, what is Kinetica? Why am I talking about this game? Why am I in your house? Kinetica is a futuristic racing game made in 2002, and was made by the acclaimed studio Santa Monica, who have made the very successful and popular God of War series. So a futuristic racing game, what's unique about that? You already got Wipeout and F-Zero. Oh, do you see the game? People with wheels on their hands and feet? Add on top of that with an early 2000s cyberpunk aesthetic, it's a unique premise to catch some eyes. But what's the actual gameplay like? It has power-ups to combat other racers, although they're kind of simple and other games have power-ups as well. What makes it go, I'm not like other racing games? Simple. This. This is the main mechanic of the game. You do stunts while racing, and after completing a stunt, you gain boost. And you can do multiple in a row and queue them up in succession to gain a multiplier. So you might think, just do stunts to get boost while racing and try to get first place. Is that really it? And my answer is, yeah. There is some strategy to it, since you have to hold R1 while wiggling the left stick in certain patterns for certain tricks, and once you have R1 held down, the left stick no longer turns you. So while in the heat of a race you have to choose when to do a trick to gain boost. Varying the match for the most optimal places to do multiple tricks in a row, since it gives you a multiplier for boost, or even go for personal style points, with the different stick movements do different tricks. Or, once you have a bunch of boost piled up, spend it to get the lead. Pretty cool, right? You're probably looking at a screen and seeing the different colorful racers, with 3 being unlockables from completing the season, in which you'll unlock a bonus track and then get first place. But honestly, all of them kind of play the same. Stunts function did the same thing, and while some have some unique flourishes, they are a little samey. There is some variation in terms of handling between the different racers, but it's really nothing crazy. But overall, the game is still pretty fun. But what I think tips a racing game from good to great is the soundtrack, and they deliver. It's the mid-2000s, so you already know what kind of sound they're going for. Fast-paced techno and EDM, it was the sound of that era, and the music I've been playing in the background. Why am I talking about Kinetica, as I asked in the beginning of the video? Who cares about this obscure racer that no one cares about? Well, I care. And I think the actual development of the game is kind of interesting too. A small niche studio trying to prove its worth in a fairly competitive era of gaming. So they start working on the game, and not only did they ship out a game, they did it under budget. So it ships, and it did pretty lukewarm on release. It gained favorable reviews, but nothing groundbreaking. Probably why no one talks about it. But that wasn't the goal. The goal was to prove to Sony that he could ship out a game. But sadly, Kinetica was fated for obscurity. I do like to imagine a future if the game had succeeded. Would we have gotten a sequel, or would Santa Monica still move forward towards God of War? In this age of racing game market, mostly being dominated by racing sims, with only very few arcade races ever coming out, it's a nice thought to have. This really is one of my favorite games of all time, and I'd like a sequel, or even a remake, but I don't think it's possible. I mean, look at it. It's really weird. Especially since arcade races aren't really attractive to AAA developers, unless it's a big IP like Mario or Need for Speed, then they usually stay in their relatively more niche indie scenes. And if I were to give it some valid criticism, the track list isn't very long. Some of the tracks can be very hit or miss. You can beat the game in a single sitting, and as a kid with no memory stick for a long time, I beat it a lot. Side note, I remember being a kid and someone told me there was a sequel to Kinetica, and that they saw it in GameStop. So every time I went to GameStop, I'd just try to look for it, and I'd just get really mad. It wasn't until I got older where I went, oh, they were just a liar. So in a realistic business sense, who the hell would buy this game? A relatively unknown game from the PS2 era with a weird premise? Only weird losers would like it. Oh. I at least hope I convinced some people to care or even check out the game. It's on PS Now and PS Plus. But if this short-lived series is meant to stay in the vault, then at least I know that it was a good stepping stone for some other good games.